of those actions. We're meant to fight against those actions. We're meant to bring non-violence back to violence. We're meant to bring justice back to injustice. Spirituality doesn't say, oh God, teach me to love the abuse of young children. Teach me to love the oppression of the weaker sections of society. Teach me to love those who harm our earth. No, it's not that. The teaching is very deep. And what the teaching says is, recognize that actually, regardless of the human package, regardless of the body-mind package, ultimately the truth of everyone is soul, which is divine. Ultimately, the core truth of everyone, including yourself, is divine. When we learn to say Aham Brahmasmi, or we chant So Hum in our meditation, it's a teaching, I am that. I am one with Brahma. I am one with the divine, one with the supreme reality. And if I am one, Tattvam Asi, thou art that. So it's not just me. It's not that God is playing favorites and being one with me but not one with you. The moment I have an actual awareness and realization that I am one with the divine, I realize so is everyone. So the love everyone is predicated, founded upon the awareness that everyone is ultimately divine. So the teaching actually is love God and realize that everyone is God. See the divine in everyone. You can disapprove of their actions. You can be angry at their actions. You can fight against their actions. You can change their actions to the extent that you are able. And we must. But as you do that, love the soul of the being who is engaging in these harmful, wrong actions. Don't allow hatred to pollute you on the inside. Because hatred kills us. Hatred is a poison. So if I'm carrying hatred around, I'm suffering. So the teaching says, love the divine in them, love God in them. Not that you have to love their actions. So if someone is being harsh and unjust and mean to you, see that they still are the divine inside, but that they are living in ignorance. Their mind is wrapped up in Maya, wrapped up in illusion, wrapped up in ignorance, and therefore they are acting out of ignorance, out of illusion. But they are still the divine on the inside. They just haven't recognized that. And in their failure to recognize the truth of themselves, they're spreading pain in the world. So love the divine in them. Pray for their mind, their heart that's suffering and bringing suffering to you. And by all means, feel free to insist upon their actions being different. Because loving the divine in someone does not mean that you allow their body-mind to harm and abuse your body-mind. Your soul is untouchable. But we have a dharma to protect our bodies. In Hindi we say, Sharir ek mandir hai. The body is a temple. Seeing someone as divine does not mean that we allow their ignorance their illusion, their anger, their fear to harm us. But it also means, as I said, that we don't allow hatred to harm us. So we see them as the divine, we love them as the divine, and we do whatever we can do to protect our body-mind and to protect the body-mind of others. If someone is abusing a child in front of you, by all means, stop them. Stop them from doing it. And don't hate them. Allow your higher self to see the divine in them who their body-mind does not recognize. Because if you can see someone as divine, what you're doing is actually giving them a great gift. You are creating a space in which they can start to see themselves as divine. It's like, falling in love for the first time. If you've always felt like you're not beautiful or that you're not smart, and suddenly someone sees you and says, oh, you are my, Miss Universe. Suddenly you see yourself as beautiful, even if you've never thought you were beautiful. If someone says, someone you love says, you're brilliant, you're amazing, you're wonderful. Suddenly you start to see yourself in a whole new light. But an even greater gift to give someone is to create the space in which you see the divine in them, even through the actions of ignorance that they're doing. It's like if your beloved husband, wife, friend, son, daughter, brother, sister is an actor, and they get a role playing a murderer in a movie. You can watch them play this role of the murderer, but you still see your beloved sister, brother, son, daughter, friend in the role. You don't hate them. You know, oh yeah, that's my brother. God, what a good murderer he's playing. Right? And later you'll say, wow, kya kamal kiya aapne. Matlab, kya role play aapne. लेकिन एक मिनट के लिए आप नहीं भूले कि वो आपका भाई है. Every time you see him, you remember. In the same way, we see everyone as the truth of who they are, even when they're playing different roles. But if he walked off that stage and still was acting like a murderer, get out of the way. Just because you see your brother in him doesn't mean that you're going to let him murder you. Get out of the way. But remember to love the actor who was playing the role. Beautiful question. Any other questions? Yes, come forward. He'll give you a mic. Aap aage aayega. Aiye. The sound doesn't go super well, I don't think so. Yes, come forward.
I'm just struggling with the issue that how to keep yourself insulated with the constant hatred attack which is happening in your own house.
Great. How to keep yourself insulated, protected from hatred that is happening in your own house. First of all, do whatever you can to change it. We're now in a time in history with global warming where polar ice caps that have existed for God knows how many millions of years are melting. Now, global warming is not a positive thing, but what it shows us is even ice that has been frozen for millions and millions and millions of years. A degree or two of difference in temperature, a minor degree or two difference, is enough to actually start melting and severely melt these ice caps. It's why everybody's panicked about climate change. That melting is going to cause a huge ripple impact. But what it means is the ice of hatred, someone hating you, never think that it cannot be melted. Never think that they hate you today, so they will always hate you. Keep trying to melt that ice cap. Keep trying to melt that hatred. People change. So that's point number one. Do whatever you can. Never give up. Never give up. Point number two. Don't take on their hatred. If someone hates you, it means they have an illness inside. They are living in a state of dis-ease. And what do you do when you've got somebody in your house who's sick? Well, think back to the days of COVID. What did we do when a family member had COVID? You didn't kill them. You didn't put them out on the streets. You didn't hate them back. But you did whatever you could do to make sure that you didn't get sick, because you knew that was not going to benefit anybody. So you just made sure to maintain a distance. They're coming into the kitchen, you leave the kitchen. Simple little things. If you have to be in the same room, you wear a mask. You understand, ki, this is still my family member, but I don't want to let them sneeze on me or cough on me because I don't want to get sick. In the same way, if someone is spewing hatred, vomiting their hatred on you, maintain a distance, a physical distance. They walk into the kitchen, walk out of the kitchen. I mean, if you know that that ice has not melted and that that person is metaphorically going to cough, sneeze, vomit, hatred and anger on you, get out of the kitchen when they walk in. Yes, we have a dharma to the members of our family, but it is not a dharma that is higher than the dharma to yourself. You need your highest dharma is to your spiritual unfolding, to your awakening. And yeah, a huge part of that is the roles we play and the dharma that we have. Children to our parents, parents to our children, spouses, friends, people in a community. But never at the detriment to the dharma that you have to yourself. So in the same way that, for example, somebody gets married into a household that, for example, is non-vegetarian. They are a pukka vegetarian, and I've seen a lot of situations like this. And they come and they ask, what do I do? And what we always say is, look, your highest dharma is to yourself. Don't start eating, cooking meat just because you've married into a household that's non-vegetarian. But you also have a dharma to the household. Means don't become the guru. Don't start lecturing everybody. Don't yell at them. Don't make them feel badly. But don't change yourself just because of this household. And no, don't start cooking meat. If they want to eat meat, let them cook it. You're not the only cook of the household. In the same way, you have a dharma to yourself. You don't become the family guru. You don't say, yeah, I learned in satsang that, your hatred toward me means that you're diseased, so that's why I'm walking out of the kitchen because, like, you're the sick one in the family. It's not going to get you anywhere. But you know that. And so you maintain your commitment to yourself. So that's number 2. Number 3. In the same way that during COVID or any other contagious illness, if you have to be in the same place, you're on an airplane. Somebody's coughing in the seat next to you. Doesn't matter what they have, you don't want it. Could be just random run-of-the-mill cough, flu. You don't want it. Put on a mask. Protect yourself. The last thing you need is the next week or 10 days of your life to be ruined because you caught something from the guy next to you on a plane. Wear a mask. It's easy, it's simple. Non-violent. In the same way, put on what I call your spiritual wetsuit. If you've got to be in that situation, put on literally this wetsuit. And what a wetsuit does is it enables you to go in the cold, freezing ocean, but you stay warm. And you stay warm because a wetsuit keeps you warm because your body heat has warmed a very thin layer of water in the suit. It doesn't keep you dry. It's not a dry suit. It's a wetsuit. You are wet in it. But what it does is it allows a tiny bit of water in. Your body heat warms the water. Then when you go in the ocean, you are swimming in this layer of warm water. You don't have to warm the ocean. You just have to stay warm in it. Ideally, in a beautiful world, warm the ocean. I mean, not really the ocean. We need to, from an environmental perspective, keep the oceans cool, but warm the ocean of your family members. Warm the world around you. But your primary goal is first stay warm yourself. So zip up the wetsuit, stay protected, stay warm, stay insulated. So it's a 3-part solution. And do them in that order. First, start trying to melt that ice of hatred. Patience, of course. But Pujya Swamiji always says, he says, you've only got 2 choices in life. Either have patience or become a patient. If you don't have patience, one of these days you're going to wind up as a patient. Something's going to... Stress is the worst thing for us. So if you don't have patience, you're actually harming yourself. So yeah, you have to have patience, of course. Absolutely. But this is life. This is why the translation of sadhana is spiritual practice. It's a practice. But never give up, and absolutely do not resign yourself to catching this contagious illness of hatred. No matter what they do to you, never let hatred into your heart. Yes. Beautiful. Any other questions? Yes. It's on, you just have to speak really loudly.
Pranam ma'am, I'm Wing Commander Sanjay Rai ma'am. I have one small question ma'am. Whenever do for a worship ma'am, whenever do start doing the puja and all, you get a lot of distraction ma'am. Even though we try to concentrate, it doesn't happen ma'am. Thank you ma'am.
Distraction is part of the package deal of human life. This is why, if you go back to the scriptures, long before we had smartphones, long before we had TVs, long before we even had telephones, long before we had any of that, we were already being counseled on how to deal with the monkey mind. The nature of the mind is to be distracted. One of my favorite examples always happens in satsang. It wouldn't happen here because we're outside and there's so much noise. But in Rishikesh, when we gather in the hall and it's relatively quiet, somebody sitting in the hall will open up their purse. Maybe they want to get a cough drop. Maybe they want to make sure their phone is switched off. Who knows? But they'll open up their purse, a zipper. And you'll see every single head in the hall go, as though nobody's ever heard a zipper before. Somebody will walk in late. Every head goes. And it's always so funny because it's normal everyday things. A zipper, somebody's coughing, somebody walks in. Nothing interesting, nothing exciting. Nonetheless, our ability to stay attentive is so limited that the tiniest little thing that happens, and everybody goes like this. It's the nature of human nature. So first of all, don't feel badly about it, but recognize that our ultimate spiritual goal is to overcome it. And that's why the scriptures have been teaching us how to deal with the monkey mind. It's not just in puja, it's not just in meditation, it's all the time. It's just that most of the time we don't realize it. And these devices, of course, have just made it worse. What do we do? Number one, meditate. Whether you feel like it's working or not working, do it anyway. It is a muscle building activity. Don't worry about enlightenment for a moment. Don't worry about awakening for a moment. The meditation is essentially like going to the gym for your mind. If what you want to be able to do is stay healthy, stay strong, lift up things, well, you've got to build muscles. If you don't build muscles, you're never going to be able to do it. We understand that. Think of your mind as a muscle. If you've never trained it to be in one place, it's never going to be in one place. Meditation is the training of the mind to be in one place. So you meditate. Number two, practice mindfulness. Some people do mindfulness meditation, but if your meditation is a different technique, do meditation and do mindfulness. Mindful eating, mindful walking, mindful brushing of your teeth means do one thing at a time, and as you do it, be as present as you can be in every moment. Being anchored in the breath is very powerful. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, can you be aware of your breath? Can you be aware of the actual body as you walk? Can you feel the way that the feet feel on the ground? As you eat, can you feel and notice all of the musculature, the arms, the hand as you lift the spoon or you lift a glass? Can you feel the water or the food going down? Just be mindful. It is a muscle building exercise of the mind. Then when you sit for puja, the mind will be trained to be in one place. And this is why, you look at the Mahakumbh. Here we are on Moni Amavasya. I was laughing. People were talking about silence, and I was saying it's perfect because this is a place where it doesn't matter where you go. Not only is it not silent, but it's it's so loud. It's so loud. And yet, it is the most auspicious place to celebrate Moni Amavasya. Meaning not ki sabko chup karana. It's not about making people quiet. It's about finding the inner quiet. And so as you're here in the Kumbh, mind's going to be distracted, and it's going to be even more distracted here. Oh my God, there's this. Constantly. Can you train yourself to literally be here now? And again, it's a practice. It's not going to come easy. Allow your awareness to always be on your breath. Be in the present moment. Start that practice. It'll change not only your puja, but it will change your life. Beautiful. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening, a beautiful Basant Panchami evening, everyone, and a very beautiful snan. We have this beautiful blessing of being right here on the banks of the water, right at the Sangam. So don't worry if you can't get in a boat and go out into the middle of the water. Every single one of the most revered saints of India gave a statement last week, literally imploring people to bathe where they are, and emphasizing over and over and over again that every single drop of water here is the power of the Sangam. So that's not to say don't go in a boat, but it's to say don't worry. I don't know what the rules are going to be tomorrow. I don't know if they're letting boats go, not letting them go, how many they'll let go, how many they won't let go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We will be leading or joining together for a beautiful group snan, a group bath together here. We'll join here in the, right here where we are in the Yagyashala at 11 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a group meditation at 11, about 10-15 minutes of meditation, and then together we will walk down to the banks of the water, and we will have a sacred dip in the water together. So everybody is welcome. Tell your friends.